Let's get the latest on the energy debate. Coal, renewables, gas with Labor's resources spokesperson Joel Fitzgibbon. Thanks for joining us again, Joel. Very quickly, there's a lot of talk about coal consumption dropping globally. I know there's been some cutbacks in your own region of the Hunter Valley. A lot on the left saying, oh, this is great news. This means coal's on the way out, renewables up. This is just a global recession, isn't it? And this is unequivocally bad news for the Hunter region of New South Wales and other parts of Australia.
G'day, Chris. Yes, that is exactly right. And the front page of the local newspaper here, the Newcastle Herald, screamed doom and gloom this morning based on yet another report from an institute so-called, funded, of course, by people who want to, in quotes, accelerate the transition to renewables. And what these people do is they don't so much analyse what's happening on the coal market internationally. They scrounge around for information which justifies their public statements. And it's as if they're celebrating the fact that coal demand is in decline because of the pandemic. Now, if Cypress Lakes, my local golf club, is doing it tough through the pandemic because the visitor economy has fallen, then people shed a tear, rightly so. So do I. But when the coal industry starts laying off people, because China, South Korea and Japan and India are using less thermal and coking coal, rather than shed a tear, they celebrate the vindication of their long-term public pronouncements. And for me, it's a source of great disappointment.
Well, people in your own shadow cabinet, your own party and your own shadow cabinet seem to run the same lines. Mark Butler, your environment spokesperson, is saying that we shouldn't be pushing for renewables now. We shouldn't be pushing for gas, We should be pushing for renewables. He wants coal and gas off the agenda and a focus on renewables. Surely, if we can exploit gas reserves around Narrabri in Western New South Wales, that will be good for jobs in this country, as well as reduce emissions compared to coal.
We need to push for all of it, Chris. I mean, renewables are currently at around 23 or 24% of the market, and it would be amazing that if in the next decade or two we could get that to 50% or more. We'll have to increase it because of the ageing nature of so many of our coal-fired generators. But even if we could get to 50%, then axiomatically 50% of our electricity will by necessity come from fossil fuels, either the younger coal generators and new gas peaking stations. So we need to do both, and we need to create jobs, and we can create jobs in all of those industries, gas, coal, by extending some of the newer coal-fired stations with carbon capture and storage, and of course, building new peaking stations. So it has to be a mix of things in the wake of the pandemic. We'll need every job we can get our hands on.
Well, gas is a crucial transition fuel is the term a lot of people use, but it is absolutely crucial, especially if you want power that can kick in quickly and back up renewables. Doesn't Mark Butler need to come out publicly and support that line? Doesn't that need to be Labor's approach?
Well, Mark Butler does not oppose gas as a use for electricity generation, and nor does he oppose gas as a feedstock into so many of our manufacturing processes. People often don't fully appreciate that gas is not just something we use to burn and produce electricity, but things like fertilisers, ammonia, etc., need gas as an ingredient into their end products. So gas will be absolutely crucial. And, you know, we are an energy-rich country. We have so much gas just waiting to be tapped. We can do that in an environmentally friendly way, sticking to the science. We've done it successfully in the past, and we can do it in the future. But the ideologues have now moved on, Chris. They realise that our coal-fired generators are in decline. Renewables can't possibly offset the loss of that generation capacity in the coming decades. And now there's an opportunity for people like you and I and many other people in the manufacturing sector to promote the use of gas, as we should do.
Joel Fitzgibbon, thanks so much for joining us.